This one is the 25th session of industrial economics, which is related to rural industrialization. So first of all, introduction. Rural areas, the businesses operates towards different industries, which are agriculture, forest and handloom industries. The people lived in different areas of rural India master in unique skills, such as the rural people living in Kerala, they have professional skill in carving wood. The other rural people proficient in weaving carpet live in Kashmir. There are various skills from the place to place is because of the factor of resources and traditions. So next, meaning. Rural industrialization means encouraging location of large and small scale units away from urban areas or planned shifting of units from urban areas to rural areas. Rural industrialization aims at all round development of an area as well as people living in such areas. Next part is the types of rural industries. There are so many types of rural industries. The importance are important in the industries are as follows. The first one, agriculture industries. The agriculture industry is crucial as it solved the subsistence of the two-thirds of the population in the field study at Ambedkar Nagar district, in which the labor force of India accounts for 52%, and this sector made the contribution of 15.7% of the gross domestic product between 2008 and 2009. The majority of the national economy is contributed by the agricultural industry. The job of people who lived in rural India is still mainly engaging in agriculture. Nevertheless, it also found that the agricultural has a descending proportion in the GDP. There are approximately 91% of the population in the 13 selected villages in India works associated with farming. Among these, over 86% are the small and marginal farmers who have an achievement of cultivating 75% of the total arable land. Besides, the agrarian economy mainly comes from the little area and marginal and small land possessed by farmers. However, there are still some factors such as the advent of these economies caused by the liberalization agenda, the downward trend of the share of the land, the limited job opportunities and production possibilities may lead to the livelihood under the line of poverty. Next point, forest industries. The forest industry traditionally produces two primary sources, which are timber and non-timber forest products (NTEPs). The fuel wood plays a crucial role among the forest products as it taking up more than 35% average forest income in the selected 27 villages around the Jharkhand in India. Besides, the forest income is significant because it made 12% to 42% increases to the village economy, and it is the dominant source of income in HFLA and HFHA villages, from which it would alleviate the livelihood burden of households. Next one is handloom industries. The handloom industries in Odisha state, India is followed by the agriculture sector in terms of the contribution of the employment which maintained the livelihood of the weavers in the low class. In rural India, the Bastralaya handloom cooperative produces traditional clothes that are sari and lungis and household products bed cover with the dyeing yarns. There is a tradition in India. Furthermore, there is a complicated braid art called ikat, which which weaving prominent patterns on the silk with using environmentally friendly colored threads. Furthermore, while carrying on the orders, the quality of the product is strictly controlled, such as if the weaver did not meet the standard criteria in terms of the dimension of the sari, the cash fine will be required after rigorously check. The next part about this session is structure of rural industries. A joint family enterprise in India has a dominant place due to the concept of family and the incentives of the economic benefits. The joint family encompasses two types of family, which are part patrilineal and matrilineal. Besides, the partnership between the family members or relatives with the same caste and subcaste will bring significant setup, capital, and assistance from relatives to solve the issue, such as handling all of the business simultaneously. Besides, another predominant reason for this form of partnership is the concept of unity in a kingship, which is a cherished perception relate to the immediate family or distant relatives as partners. For example, 23 partnership ventures have a corporation with family members in the total of the 48 enterprises in the selected two villages at Gujarat, West India. So next part of this session is the major problems of rural industrialization in India. There are some major problems faced by the rural industrialization. They are as follows. The first problem is lack of infrastructural facilities. Rural areas are characterized by poor infrastructural facilities in the field of roads, electricity, street lighting, road transport, etc., which hampers the smooth movement of various industrial activities. This is a major problem faced by rural entrepreneurs. Next problem is financial constraints. Most of the rural entrepreneurs face financial crunch in setting up rural industries because of the non-supportive attitude of financial institutions and banks, which work more on papers. The producers and procedures and conditions to avail a loan is so time-consuming that its delay often disappoints the entrepreneur. Due to this, the entrepreneurs are forced to take credit from village money lenders who charges exorbitant rate of interest. Lack of technical know-how. As rural industries are labor intensive, they cannot afford to introduce sophisticated techniques and methods of production, which is very expensive. A lack of technical know-how, appropriate technology, and training create immense problem in the growth of rural industries. Without this, productivity and increased profit is a distant dream. Next problem is marketing problems. Marketing of rural products has not been well developed. Promotion, distribution, and implementation of customer feedback is lacking. Rural industries cannot compete with their urban counterparts. Dealers exploit the rural industries in the traditional sector. Lack of proper communication facilities and marketing information adds to the problem to large extent. Next problem is lack of adequate knowledge and information. Though information technology has substantially developed in the modern world and has penetrated into the rural areas through internet, rural people hardly availed its benefits because rural people do not have adequate information avenues. They are not knowledgeable, trained, and motivated to achieve more and more in their own sphere. Next one, raw materials. Rural industries face a tough task in procuring and storing raw materials. Since rural industries are small, they procure raw materials from middlemen at higher prices. Lack of warehousing facilities in the rural sector also costs more towards storing of raw materials. Next, legal problems. Rural industries need compliance of various legal formalities in obtaining the government's approval and license for carrying out industrial activities. But rural entrepreneurs find it extremely difficult to comply with various legal formalities due to sometimes complex legal provisions or illiteracy and ignorance. So we can summarize this session by saying lack of awareness and knowledge about the importance of rural industries stand as a major problem before rural entrepreneurs.